right, so let's look at how to be able to create or simulate data in order to, rehearse our analysis before we can jump into it. Most times, the people who raise questions about how do I get the data to be able to practice. And I want to show you how to be able to simulate different techniques of how we simulate data, and then we use it for our practice. So let's go. I'm going to, there are a whole lot of functions that we are going to be combining in order to get this done. So the first function we are going to look at is the run function. The run function is used to simulate data between 0 and 1. So 1 is actually will not be part of it except you round it up. So how do we do it? Simply type here and then say run. See the run function. So don't give it any argument. Just close it up and then tap enter. And then it's going to give you a random, so you can now drag it down and then you can drag it across and then you have it the way you want. If you don't want it this way, you can actually also say the run function, use your tab key to complete it. But you see this way is going to give you a whole lot of decimals. You don't want the decimals to be that many, so precede it with a round function. So you can say either round up or round down. Round up means you want just one single significant space. So I'm going to use the round function, use your tab key. Then in that case, another function has opened. So I'll come here and say round to what? Let's say 2 decimal places. So that way it gives me this. And then I can simply now I can simply just come here and drag it down to be able to simulate my data between 0 and 1. And another smart way to be able to simulate data like this is, let's say if you want to do this across like 5 different columns, how do you do that? Now that I have simulated one, just click inside that particular place, Control C to copy it. You can see it has been copied. And so let's say that you want to simulate it to cover it. Instead of dragging it, just highlight this particular place, copy that one alone, and come and say Control V. It will simply just create the data for you at random. So you can say Control C to copy everything, then right click on it and paste it as values. So the one that has 1, 2, 3, click on that, and then you have your data. With this line, just tap maybe something like this, and then that's all. Your data is simulated, and then you can now begin to to work with it. That's for the run function. I will be coming back to the run function again. For now, this is how we use the run function. Now let's look at another way to simulate data. It's called run array. The run array allows us to be able to select the number of rows, the number of columns that we want. And then we use that one to be able to simulate our data. Now, let us assume that we want to simulate data. So I'll use the run array. You can see the run array function is down there. Use your tab key. Now, how many rows do we want? Let's say we want 20 rows. And it's asking how many columns. Let's say we want 4 columns. And what is the minimum value that we want? Let's say that we are looking at, we want to simulate the data to cover, let's say, 5 hospitals. So if it is 5 hospitals, I will say the column should be 5. And then we are looking at birth weight. So we are looking at a minimum of 1 kilogram and then a maximum of 6 kilogram. I don't know whether, and because we want decimals, do we want them to be like 1.5, 1.6, and then in that order? And then, so we can simply, if we choose false, it means we want decimals to be there. Because it's a measurement, it's always good to make sure that you add decimals. Every measurement, they should be measured. They are not integers, because you are measuring it and you cannot get what just an integer by measuring. There should be some point. So here, if I tap enter right now, so you see that the data will be there. But there's one thing, you can see the decimal places are just too many. The reason why I'm not asking you to use this particular provision to decrease the decimal numbers is that it only hides it, but it doesn't round them up. So the best way, come here and double click again, precede it with a round function, and then we can say we use the round function, and then come to the last part of the function, put your command there. We are running to how many decimal places? Let's say 1. And then we just close it up. And then in that case, we now have our birth weight of 5 hospitals. So I can now label here hospital 1, 2, 3, and then I have created my data. Another function that we use is run between. The run between allows us to be able to create data between a lower value and then a higher value. But in that case, it doesn't give us the opportunity to specify number of columns and rows. We will have to drag across. So I can simply say run between, and as you can see, the run between function. And so let's say we are running between what's the minimum value. So let's say the birth weight of kids, we are looking at 1 kilogram, and let's say 7 kilogram, and then that's all. So I'll tap enter, and it's going to give me 1. Run between doesn't give you decimals, it gives you integers. So I can simply get drag down, and I can also now drag across. And then another way we could have also again use the initial technique that once we have created the function, we can simply just come there and then copy it, then simply highlight the area you want like this, and then Control V, and then it will repeat the formula, or to repeat the function in each cell, and it will simulate the data for you. That's another fastest way to be able to do that. In that case, you can now Control C to copy, right click and paste it back, and then you now have your data ready. And so you now have, and then you can begin to work with it. Now, let's look at another way to be able to sequence or to be able to simulate data. To simulate data, another function that is very useful is the sequence function. The sequence function allows us to simulate data based on some timestamp that we want to put on it. We'll be looking at it one after the other. Now, so sequence, like the data is in succession. For instance, I can say use the sequence function. Hold on, this is the search function. I'm using the sequence function. And how many rows? Let's say we want 50 rows. Okay. And then how many columns? Maybe just 1. And then we are starting at what? We are starting at 1, and we are increasing by 1. So we just want maybe count numbers from 1, 2, 3 up to 50 of them. So if I close it here and tap enter, you should see that it's going to count up to 50. And as you see, up to 50 of them. But the other way, I could have also said that I want, okay, let's say the sequence function here. How many rows? Let's say we want 50 rows. We are starting at, let's say, 3. And let's say the steps have 2. So it means it's going to start with 3, followed by 5, followed by 7, and then in that order. So it means we are actually simulating what? Odd numbers. Like something. So we are done. I'll just tap close here, and then you can see. So it's going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then in that order. That is how we simulate what is data. What about the sequence function? We can also use it to simulate data and put timestamp on some items. Let's assume that you are picking data from a particular hospital, and you pick the data every week. Every week you go there, then you pick your information. Every week you go there. That's a timestamp. You have put some time. You are picking it at a regular interval. So that's a timestamp. So how do you put that particular time? And the data, what you have picked the data in all. So you are good to go. So how do we do that in Excel? So we simply use the sequence function. And then how many rows? Let's say your data points, or by now you should know that. Let's say if they are about 100, so that's 100 rows. How many columns? Let's say it's 1. Or yeah, what is it? That's 1. If you also want, you can actually put it 2 or 3. Okay, let me put it like 3 columns, and after that I'll show you how to be able to rearrange it. And then we are starting at a date. So now use the date function, and then which year was that? Let's say it was 2026, and then that was February that you started, and then you started it on February, let's say February 9th, and then in that order. So that's the start date. How many steps? You were picking the data every 7 days. So we close it up and tap enter. So what we need to do is, once we're there, highlight everything, and then come to this point and say it is date. So you notice that the first date, we started picking it on February 9th, as you can see the date here. The second plus 7, that will give you February 16th. Plus 7 will give you 23rd, and then in that order. And so that is how we can pick the data, or we can put the timestamp on it. If you want everything to follow in line up to the 100, then you are good to go. So this is about 300 data points that you have just picked. So each of them is 100. So that's another way. Instead of just putting only 100, you can actually do 300, but put them 3 columns and then in that order. So that's how we also sequence. We also make sure that we simulate data in that particular order, what is in sequence. If what I have done is not clear, let me delete it and then do it once more again, maybe a very small one. I'm saying that you are picking a data, so you are using the sequence. How many rows this time around? Let me just make it 12 rows, and then column. Let's just say 1, and then the stats. So we put the dates. So we use the date function and say the year is 2026, and then we have February, and then we started on February, let's say 21st. So we close that up, and then how many steps? If you are picking it every week, it means every 7 days. Every 7 days you pick the data. So I'll put there 7, and that's all. So we'll tap enter and now see. So our first date, where we pick the data, was 21. Second plus 7 will be 28. Plus 7 will be 3rd March, 7th March, or is it 7th March here? And then in that order, 14th March, 21st March, 28th March, and then in that order. So now timestamp is there, and then your data is ready. This is how we simulate data or time to be able to put that. But we'll get to time, the actual time. Now, we also have something we call choose. Choose allows us to be able to simulate data that has to do with strings. Very interesting. When you are dealing with strings, then it becomes very easy for you to you can use. Okay, so so I'm going to leave choose. Choose actually allows us to be able to and then come and look at date. How do we simulate date? Random data, or the random date. So you create date here using the date function. Another date is here, and then you can now use the run between function. So I can simply say run between or run array, any of them. Run between, the lowest is this, and then but you need to fix it. So function key and F4 to fix it, so that we keep on getting back to that one. So we also function key and F4 to fix it, close it, and then that's it. So now when we come here, we can simply drag this down, and then where we are going to simulate this random date. It doesn't follow a particular order. But if you want the random date to follow a particular order using this function, so as when you started it here you could have also said sorts. You can sort function. Come to this side, close it up, then tap enter. So let's see. I'm not sure this will work though, but so here, what is it? If it was array, it would have been better. But still, what is it? I was just trying to let you. So here you can just, it's better to simply do it finished before you sort it out, and then you're good to go. Now, time. How do we also create random time? How do we create random time? I will show you the techniques. I'm saying the techniques. Some of them might not look popular, but you just want to get your work done. So you can use the text function to be able to create random time. So you use the text function, and then you can use the run. The run function is also there. And now in double quote, put HH, that's hours. Put that's minutes, and then put SS, and that will be seconds. Then you put your command over there, or I think there's no command. I'm going to put, I'll close it up again, and tap enter. So it's going to create a random time for me. So let me drag this down and see, as you can see, it has created a random time for me. So from here, we have 2 p.m. We have 8, 4, 8:47, 8, 5:45, and then in that order. So these are different timestamps. What is it? We just created the time at random, and then some are PM, as you can see. Others are so depending on the way. But if your time, let us assume that you also have some kind of data that you are picking, and you are picking it every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, you pick the data. Every 30 minutes, you pick the data. And what time are you starting? Let's say it's on a particular date. So how do we do it? So I can simply come here and say, if it is on the same day, there's no point you having. So I will simply just say, I have, let's say I'm starting the time, I'm starting it at 6, okay, 6:13. And so the next thing, all right, so let me format this and make it general. So I'm going to remove that and say 6 and then 13. Then I can come again. The next one will be 6:26, right? So I will say 6:26. Oh, okay. 6:26. And that's it. So this one you are picking it in sequence. So now just come here and run it. Excel will simply repeat the time for you. So you see that 6:13, 6:26, 6:39, 6:52, 7:05, 7:18, and then in the order. So you can now drag it up to whichever level at all you want, and then it will simulate your data just like the way you wanted it to be. But remember, when you are simulating time, you've got to be careful so that it doesn't spill over. So you see that it get to 12, 12 all the way to 1, and then it's coming back all the way up to the time that whatever you were there. And then when it get back to 6:13, then it will start again, to start at 6:13 again, and then in that order. So where we are now, we are at 17. When we continue dragging up to 6, up to 23, then it will go to 00, then continue 1, and then all the way up to 6. So that's how we simulate time. Now let's look at e-date. The e-date is also one of the ways we use to be able to simulate, let's say, month. You see, it allows us to be able to simulate month. Let me increase the font size here a bit, and then let's look at something. So I've already created a date here, and I said January 23rd, February 2026. So use the e-date here and the start date. So this is our reference. That's the date we are starting. And then month. What is it? Which particular month? So let's say we are looking at months. Okay, how many months? Let's say 4. So let me say 4. Then close it up and tap enter. So you see that we picked the first data on 23rd February. Then the second one will be 23rd June, because we gave it 4 months. So we are picking it 4 months interval. Now, let's look at it this way. So if I drag this, it's going to be 4 months interval on the same date. I don't know whether you are getting what I'm saying. So this one there is just about, you should just shift it and then you're good to go. Then that's okay. So we are simply saying that this is the start date, which is 23rd. The second date is also 23rd, but it is in 4 months' time. another 4 months time, another 4 months time, another 4 months time. If we wanted it, the number of months, so we say 1. So when we are picking the data every month, so we come here and then let's look at it. That will be, this is February, this will be March, this will be, so I can now drag it across and then that will be, so you see that we have April, May, June, July, August, September, and then in that order. But all of them, you are picking it on 23rd of each of the month. So that's how we simulate data when we are picking the data on the exact day in a month, is to be able to run across, and then we are good to go. I think the other way we simulate data, all that I have shown you, like those are the numerical data, and then in that order. What about strings? For instance, if I want to simulate data to be able to cover a certain number of, I can be typing like names and other things. Strings are simply characters. So what we normally do is we combine these sequences that you see that we have here, the run between the run array, to be able to simulate strings. Now let's assume that I want to simulate data. I just want to create random what is it, genes. So I can simply say, I can use the choose function here. I have choose, and I can say run between, or run array. You see, and then number of rows, let me put it 20, and number of columns, let's say 4, and number of let's say, so what is the minimum? How many genes are there in all? Let's say, let's make it 6 genes. So the minimum is 1, the maximum is 6. And then in this case, we are looking for integers. So I'll say true. And then, but that's not all. That function is for the run array. The run array will help us to be able to choose but now the choose will now give us the values. So we have the values. So what's the first value now where we put the gene over there? So the first gene, let's say, is the arg gene, but they are strings, so they have to be in quotations. And then the second one, let's say they are quinolones, Q in X. And then the second gene, let's say, is the sulf gene, sol gene. Okay, that's for sulfonamide. The other one, let's say, is CAC-A. Okay, it has to be in upper. It is CAC-A. This is, and then the other one is VAC-A. And then they are supposed to be 6 because we are saying 1 to 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's leveled to 1 more. And then let me see which of the genes that come to my mind. The first A gene. And then that's all. So if I tap enter right now, I'm going to run a whole array of genes. So I can simply highlight the whole thing, right click and copy it, or let me just leave it like the way they are. So you see that I have created genes at random. So let us assume that I'm going to insert a row up. Let's say these genes were extracted from a particular bacteria. So let's say Staph aureus. So let's Staph aureus. Then we come here. Let's say this is E. coli. And then this is K. pneumonia, Klebsiella pneumonia, or pneumonia. And then we can come here and say Acinetobacter baumannii, and then in that order. So this is how we also we combine to be able to create strings, and then we are good to go. I hope we've gone back and forth, but these are the various techniques that we employ when we want to simulate data and then use it for our analysis. This time around, I can now begin to apply all kinds of string analysis if I so desire. For instance, I can actually now look at it and say how many of these genes are there. But for now, when you leave it this way, there'll be recalculation. So sometimes it's good to you copy it and then paste it back as values, and then that's it. So the recalculation will stop, and then in that order. So this way, you can actually now, maybe if you want to do any kinds of, for instance, under the Baumani, we can actually say, okay, we want to look at, you can insert, you see. So you have the AB gene, the CAP gene, the FOS-A, the quinolone, the SOLF, and then the VAC-A. And then we can actually look at it numerically. So this is how we actually, and we could have also highlighted the whole thing and then come here, and automatically Excel will know that. And then all the charts, I think, are needed to, maybe this one can use a different approach to be able to look at them. But this is how we simulate data, and then to be able to try and then make all kinds of analysis that we want before we can now plug in the main data. You study the main data, simulate some data, try to analyze it, and then you are good to go before you now bring in the real data. Thank you, and I will show you another video some other time.